the world is changing really fast. What is it that people should be mindful of? What should people be doing right now? What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Hoan Zone, where we help you multiply the assets you own. Today's episode is really special to me because I have my good friend, MC Lobsher. He is the host of the Cashflow Ninja, one of the top podcasts around finances and building businesses. And I have him on today because we are going to be talking about what to look forward to in today's economy. Things are changing so quickly that I can't even keep up. So I ask people like MC, hey, what do I got to watch out for? What do I have to do? So MC, welcome to the show.
Great to be on. Great to be on and great to see you. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, we got a lot to cover, but we have a short amount of time. So let's give it to the people. So the world is changing really fast. What is it that people should be mindful of? What should people be doing right now?
Yeah, of course, the world has experienced a lot of changes before, not at the speed that which we're doing right now. I mean, we've got the fourth industrial revolution. We have the great reset, which we are seeing changes in many different areas of our lives. And as a result of all of these changes, well, there's an economic impact, there's a societal impact. And of course, when massive changes happen, there's a massive wealth transfer. And I believe it's the greatest wealth transfer in human history is already underway. We've seen more millionaires and billionaires created in the past 18 to 20 months than ever. You know, you look at the statistics in 2020 alone. So when most people were on the wrong side of this, just know that there were a lot of people that positioned themselves, their families, their businesses, and their investments to be on the right side of this. So things to be aware of is knowing that this is a new environment. The game has changed. We will never go back to 2019, ever. The world has changed. In 2020, in 2 months, it fast forwarded 10 years. Right. Things that would have been happening 10 years from now are already happening. We're working virtually. Everything is virtual. We've got digital companies and businesses. And this changes and impacts everything, where people live, where people work, where they shop, where they vacation. And then also because people will get caught off guard of the rapid speed of this, and then government's reactions to this. There's going to be people that are on the wrong side of this, as I mentioned. So there will be a great divide, the haves and the have-nots, which will lead to other issues, you know, which folks have to prepare for. But yeah, we have major disruption, and I believe that, you know, we are in the eye of the hurricane of an economic storm. So you could see this and recognize this and position yourself to be on the right side of this, or you could stick your head in the sand, and when that storm hits, your butt's going to get wet.
Right. It's crazy that more millionaires and billionaires were minted in the last 24 months than anytime before that. And it's crazy to me because there's a lot of people who are not doing well. So a lot of people not doing well. So there's this great divide. So if you were me, what would you be focused on in terms of being on the right side, as you were saying, being on the right side of that wealth transfer?
Yeah, great question. The first thing is know the game, know and understand the game, and respect the game. And what I mean by that is the game of capital and wealth. There's a game being played. If you're not aware of it, it's not fun being in a game and you don't know you're in it. But there's a game with money, within the economy, with businesses. So the first thing is be aware of the game. Learn and understand the game. You could read a book like The Creature from Jekyll Island by G. Edward Griffin, and you would probably understand 80 to 85% of the game and get it. The 15% is just the latest changes, which is basically happening with the new environment. So know and understand the game of capital and wealth. The second thing is know and understand the new environment. There is massive changes, and then most of them are still coming, right? AI, robotics, machine learning, 3D printing, Internet of Things, 5G. There's going to be so much disruption. If you see this coming, you can position yourself and capitalize on the opportunities, because when there's chaos, there's opportunities. Just think of the world right now. If you're only starting right now, is there a lot of problems right now? A lot of challenges, a lot of people that have pain points. And by the way, on the other side, there's also a lot of people with wants and desires, right? you can look at this and go, wow, what problem excites me? What am I passionate about? What problem do I want to solve? And then the second thing is maybe you just want to help people get desirable outcomes, wants and needs. I had a buddy tell me the one time, very, very, very successful entrepreneur. He said, MC, I learned the lesson a long time ago. All you need to do is sell stuff to really rich people that they want. There's a market for that too. Yeah, if I had to start over again, learn the game, be a student, respect the game, and then also understand the new environment, daily look at all the problems that people have and then how you can solve it. And then I would also just add, of course, you need to have a strategy, a plan, and that's why it's important to understand the game and the environment, because there's things that you can do to protect yourself. And then there's things that you could do to capitalize on the opportunities. And then you've just got to learn. You got to watch channels like this, listen to folks such as Hoan, and learn from some of the things that he shares.
I love you started off with the game, and I understand what I think is the game, right? And that's a very high level to it. What it reminded me when you started talking about that was when Robert Kiyosaki would say, savers are losers, right? And so part of the game is to acquire assets, multiply the assets you own, right? Acquire assets using other people's money, using debt, right? Because he says savers are losers. And what you want to do, instead of saving money to buy assets, you want to borrow money to buy assets, because the interest on the money is nothing, but the rate of inflation sometimes exceeds that debt, that interest. So why in the world would you save money to buy assets when you could just borrow the money, buy the assets that exceed the inflation? So the game is that there's this monster, this invisible monster called inflation, that it's coming to bite you and eat you. So how do you outpace the inflation monster? You buy a bunch of assets. But how do you buy a bunch of assets? The people who don't know that they're playing the game, they think they need to save their money in order to buy these assets. When in real life, that's not what the rich are doing. None of the rich people are saving their money to buy a skyscraper. They're syndicating the money, or they're doing some kind of REIT or something, and they're playing the game a completely different way. But most people don't even realize that there is a game to play, and that they're just saving money and one day hopes to buy an asset. And that's the wrong game. That's the wrong game. So I love that you brought up, just know that there's a game to be played and that you're in it. Because if you don't know, then you're going to be stuck. And you'll probably lose the game.
Yeah, absolutely. And to your point, what that just reminded me when you said that is the Cantillon effect. For folks that want to learn more about this, is really understand the Cantillon effect. And there was an economist, Richard Cantillon, and this was years ago. You can look him up online. But what he essentially saw was that people that were closest to the centers of influence and power, when new money was created by the king and the lords and so forth, the folks closest to those power centers, they get access to the newly created money first, and they were able to position it in hard assets before the money filtered through the economy. So how does this apply to today? Well, in 2020, 25% of all US dollars ever created was created in 2020. Classic Cantillon effect in play, because the folks closest to powers, centers and centers of influence got access to the newly created currency units first. The wealthy, the rich, investment banks, hedge funds, and so forth. What did they do with it? They put it into hard assets. That's why real estate is blowing up. It went into real estate. It went into Bitcoin. It went into many different areas of assets. So then when the money started to filter through the economy, because, money from banks go to corporations, they borrow money, they generate a profit, they pay people, and all of a sudden, the middle class started getting access to the money. They all of a sudden started seeing, whoa, prices are going up in assets, the price in the house, the price in the stock market, the price of cryptos like Bitcoin. And then, of course, money goes to the poor at the bottom. They just see prices, price inflation. The rich, the people closest to the power of centers of influence and power, they get to position themselves to see asset inflation and benefit from it. They own businesses that can increase their prices to benefit from price inflation too, which punishes the middle class and the poor.
Holy cow. I had not heard about that, but that explains a lot. Okay, so for those who don't know about my own personal situation, I'm currently refinancing a bunch of my assets, my properties, right? And I'm refinancing it with loans that never existed before. Really cheap money, really easy money, and a whole bunch of it is coming to me for my assets. They're collateralizing my assets. So I'm getting access to all of this money really easily, really cheaply, right? When I say really easy, no doc loans, no tax returns, no personal financial statements, nothing. It's like, do you have a pulse? Do you have a piece of real estate? Yeah, here's money. So they're giving me super cheap money that never existed before. And it's coming from, I actually drew the line, it's coming from the hedge funds. The hedge funds are now my lenders. It's not the bank anymore. It's the hedge fund. It's this effect that you're telling me about. We're telling all of us about. So now I get it. And now I have this money and I own these properties. And because I got the money back, because I refinanced, did a cash out, I have all this extra money to go buy more assets. And then all of these assets are going up in value, just like everything else that we buy. Everything's going up in value, right? Or I should say price. Everything else is going up in price. For me, it's value because I own it. But it's high in price for everybody else. So the people who are not playing the game and are furthest away from the Cantillon effect, right? The ones who are furthest away are just feeling the negative effect of it. Oh my gosh, this house is so expensive. This car is so expensive. But then for someone like me, who's a little closer to that center, I'm going, wow, all of my values are up. I'm feeling great. It's this makes so much sense.
And that's the game. So where do you want to play it, right? So if you're just getting started, you have an opportunity of a lifetime, because the upward mobility in this in the United States and global and this economy is endless, because a business owner is just going to take people from their current reality to their desired reality. And you do that by solving problems for them and having products and services and a great offer and a great business, right? You market, you sell, and you fulfill on your promises. So if you can do that, the world is your oyster, because there's a lot of folks with problems right now. This being one of them. If you could share this kind of stuff with them and tell them, this is where you need to be. How do you get there? Well, you can be an entrepreneur, escape your 9 to 5 with unlimited income instead of being locked in at an income. You can get to play in this game on the right side of it. Because if you just have a job, for example, and you're capped, well, you're not benefiting because everything else is going up and there's more money, but you're not getting any of it. And by the way, if you're an employee, sometimes even if you do get a little bump, a pay bump, guess what? You might pay more taxes.
You pay more taxes, and it never, ever, ever keeps up with inflation. You get a bump, but that's one time, and that's maybe one time a year. But inflation is nonstop. It's ruthless. It just keeps on coming. So yeah, and at your job, no matter how hard you work, if your salary, no matter how hard you work, you get your salary. Whereas if you're acquiring assets, if you're multiplying the assets you own, if you're playing the game the right way, then you have this unlimited upside, like you're saying, and you want to position yourself to capitalize on that now, because who knows how long this door is going to be open for, to like get a big cup and just capture all of the rain that's coming down, right? How do you maximize that? And I don't think a job is going to do it for you. A job is not going to be the best way to capture as much falling wealth as possible. So no, this is a fantastic conversation. MC, you just wrote a book, and it is called The 21 Best Cash Flow Niches, right? That's a fantastic book. Give us a real quick synopsis on what's up with this book, because I'm super excited about it, but I want to hear it from you.
Yeah, I've interviewed over the past 5.5 years, over 700 people on my show, Cashflow Ninja, the best minds in business and investing. And of course, the question that I get from most people when I touch base with them is, MC, what are some of the best investments that have been shared on your show? You've interviewed over 700 people, sharing different niches and sharing different strategies. So eventually, I thought about it, and I'm like, I think I have a book here. And then I reached out to some folks that already wrote books and said, what do you think of it? And they said, where is the book? I said, no, I don't have it yet. I said, well, why haven't you done it yet?
Yeah, come on.
So I
why
said, I
haven't
take that
you?
as a yes. Okay, I take that as a yes. So now I have the book, the 21 best cash flow niches. It's creating wealth in the best alternative cash flow investments. And essentially, we share 21 niches of different investment niches that folks have generated cash flow in. And then also, I added 5 bonus niches. Of course, 26 niches are not going to market that well. So it's the 21 best cash flow niches with 5 bonus ones, because narrowing it down was hard too.
I believe it. Talking to 700 people, and you guys get additional bonuses. MC is nice enough to have given us additional bonuses for you guys listening to the Hoan Zone. So I'm going to put in the link below in the description, a link to go to after you buy the book, because you guys can buy the book from Amazon. But in my description below, you guys will get access to a bunch of bonuses. What is it? The audio bonus, the digital copy of the book, other things like that, right? Well,
Yeah.
what do they get
So
bonuses-wise?
please do this, because this is for the Hoan Zone audience. So go through Hoan's link, the link that he's going to put in below this video for you, because in there you would be able to submit your information. You can buy the book. You'll get a physical copy of the book, obviously from Amazon. But then I'm going to throw in some bonuses for the Hoan Zone. I'm going to multiply the value here.
There you go.
Let's multiply the value. So I'm going to give you access to a digital version of a book, the audio version of the book, and then I curated a library of interviews discussing this niches. So instead of listening to 700 episodes, you get to listen to the interviews where these niches are discussed. And then I also throw in some bonus videos of more interviews and conversations that I've had with people talking about this niches. So if you, just sign up through Hoan's link, and then those will know that you're one of his community members, and you'll be able to access those bonuses when you buy the book.
That is super awesome. And what's even cooler is that this book was like 5 years in the making, or whatever it was, right? But it is more important than ever before that people learn about what's inside that book, because 21 niches, 26 niches, right? It's all of these niches for people to focus on so that they can diversify their income and create massive wealth during this time, because there are going to be people who are going to be on the right side and then the wrong side of the wealth transfer. This book is going to help you guys figure out what the game is, the environment that's coming up, and how to be on that right side. I know I have a little inside tips on the book and what's in there. We're not going to share it here, but I have some inside information on what's in the book. And what's crazy is many of the things that he talks about in the book were only available within the last couple of years. They weren't even options 10 years ago, 20 years ago. So it's what to focus on today based on this changing environment. So always have up-to-date information. This is why I reach out to MC, because he's always on that cutting edge of everything. So I know people are going to want to know who you are and what you're all about, MC. So how do people figure out how to reach you? How do they find out more about you? How do they learn about you? All that.
Cashflowninja.com. So there's everything at cashflowninja.com. I've got 2 podcasts, Cashflow Ninja and Cashflow Investing Secrets. Can't believe there's over 800 episodes between the 2 of them, but 700 in Cashflow Ninja. But yeah, we everything there you can learn about our community, all of our tools and resources and programs and everything is there. And I'll just add to what you also said, Hoan. One of the most important things for people right now, everybody asks me if there's one thing, just one thing you could share that'll make a massive difference. You've covered it already, and you continue to cover it, is independent income streams with an S, many of them, and non-correlated too. You want to have diversified income streams in this new environment, because if you have independent, diversified income streams, you have options. You don't want to rely on one. If one's being cut off, which unfortunately a lot of folks have found out, now you've really got your back against the wall. What if you had 3 or 4? What if you had 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 or 9 or 10? What if you had 21? You want to have diversified income streams, as many as you can. And also a lot of them have to be non-correlated in this environment to get through the chaos and the changes. And then that'll ensure that you will not only survive, but you will thrive.
That is wonderfully said. Thank you, MC. All right, guys, that is it for
Thank
this
you.
episode. That's MC. I'm Hoan Tai. Let's multiply.